Hey guys, welcome to our review of Warhammer 40,000, the core rules, the game itself after 1 month in.
Yeah.
Jay, we've played a lot of games.
We played it and we still don't know all the rules.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah.
But I've had a lot of fun.
It's super fun.
So let's get the structure of this out of the way. What we're going to do is me and Jay are going to talk a little bit about our first impressions kind of overall after 1 month. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty, the good, the bad. I even have some uglies. And then we'll kind of round it out with an overall score of where we think Warhammer as a tabletop and as a hobby is now versus where they've been in the past. And yeah, that gives you a good idea of how to get into the hobby. So let me start by saying this is a hobby. Welcome to the hobby, my friends. I want so desperately for you guys to hop in, but it is very expensive. I tell people, if you want to start playing Warhammer 40,000 for real, you expect to pay $500. That's basic. Now, obviously, you can get in for it cheaper.
Yeah,
but just know that it's going to run. We will eventually get to $500 in some way. But this isn't just a game, right, where you just play and you're done. This is a hobby. There's so many aspects of this world. You have the lore, which for us is an 11 out of 10.
Yeah, the books.
I broke my scale for the universe of 40K, right? And not enough can be said about how amazing it is and how fun it is to play in this universe. Then there's the hobbying. Alex doesn't like the game as much as we do.
A lot of people are like that, yeah.
Loves to build the things. So we have to factor that in. Yeah. But for this review, we are talking about the rule set exclusively. Competitive and, casual play. So I'll go first, and I'll say that 10th edition to me is a resounding success. I fucking love it. I enjoy every single game that I played. I had so much fun. I think there are a lot of good changes. I think there are some changes that were changed for the sake of changing and aren't good. And I'd like to focus on those, and hopefully GW will get through those. And then mainly, I think when you redo 28 factions all at once and you put all the rules out at once, there's going to be stuff that they missed. However, there's stuff that they missed that shouldn't have been missed. Balancing stuff, where it's just wildly imbalanced. Anybody in basic game design would have been like, that's not going to work. But I don't fault them a whole lot because there was so much to be done all at once. I still fault them for it. And I do know that there are balance updates coming once every 3 months, once every 6 months in different ratcheted levels, and eventually it will get good. So I think while we're at the 1 month mark, it's going to be much better in 3 months. It's going to be much better in 6 months, and that's kind of where I want to live and where I think you should live with the game. So that's basically the summary of what I think. I think it's a success. I would much rather play 10th edition than pretty much, 7th edition, 8th edition, 6th edition, 3rd edition. It's the best edition. I mean, 9th had more depth and sub-factions, and I missed that small section of it, but I still would rather play 10th with all of its problems. And that is really all you really need to know. And I think that you should, if you want to get into tabletop gaming, go and buy and play and meet a whole new group of friends out there at the local store. Support your local stores and hobbies. So Jay, what are your kind of summary of thoughts after 1 month?
So after 1 month, again, I had a blast. There's a lot. There's a lot. It's like drinking from a fire hose. We try to freaking absorb this whole rule set, and it's not that much, but there's a lot of nuance to it. There's a lot of things that aren't really.
It reads really quick, but then when you get into the actual programming,
the nitty-gritty of it, yeah, it's like, what did they mean this or did they mean this? But I did love it. I am happy with it as it stands. you know, it does need tweaks. I want to play more. I mean, we always say that, like, oh, you know, they changed the rules and they messed it up, and we're not gonna play it ever again. But we still have the models. We like to build them and paint them and stuff. But the lore always sucks us back in.
Oh,
it
yeah.
sucks us back into the game because you read the lore, you read some books, you
that would be
you know,
so
see how
cool.
the story advances throughout the timeline. It's like, oh yeah, I need to play again. Let's try this out. And then, you know, so far I think they've done okay. I'm happy with it. I like it, and I'm satisfied for now. I mean, as like you said, if they make the rules, update them, balance stuff a little bit where it needs to be balanced, but
you don't feel cheated.
fine.
You don't feel like the sky is falling. You don't feel like this is the worst edition ever.
Right.
These are all things that are important to say.
Again, I think it is the best edition so far.
There you go.
All right.
Okay, well, now that we're in agreement that this is the best edition so far, it's probably the easiest way to get in, and best time to get into Warhammer 40K. You could say, I was there before Henry Cavill's Amazon show. I was there before we started seeing all these movies. Now is the time to get in, and you would start at Combat Patrol, which I guess maybe we would do a separate video on Combat Patrol. Just because the full 40K experience is so huge and big. We'll talk about Combat Patrol separately with its own set of issues, and hopefully GW continues to support that. But getting into the nitty-gritty now, let's go. Do we start with the good? Yeah. Let's do the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
So let's start with the good. Okay, so I've organized it into 10 points. You take a few, I take a few. You go first. Go ahead.
All right, so here
These are all the good.
Few of the things that I really like about this new edition. So first being free rules, free data cards. Data cards have all the special abilities listed on them.
Yeah.
I like that they reduced the bloat, only 5 phases, less stratagems.
Point two. I want to make some distinctions. So that was number 1, free data sheets, indexes. You could download the cards. This way, they're easily updatable.
Right.
GW can just go online, boom, 1.1, 1.2. And in a game like this, with so many models, 2,000 data sheets, it's necessary. So, and the fact that it's all free now is great. Until we get to codexes. We'll talk about that later.
All right, point 2, the reduced bloat.
Oh, yes.
Only having 5 phases in a turn.
Yep.
Less stratagems. You don't have 500 different stratagems to worry about.
Some factions had 40 stratagems that you had to pick from, and you're like looking at your army. It's overwhelming for new players, and frankly, it's unnecessary. It wasn't adding much gain. It was slowing things down.
Them taking out the psychic phase and morale phases.
Yeah,
really
I love these.
Sped it up.
These could be controversial, but for both of us, we think that the gains from speeding up, they're still there. People still fire psychic attacks with devastating wounds and mortal wounds.
And I like how they incorporated it.
And I like
you still
how
have
it's
a little bit
incorporated.
of psychic. You have a psychic feeling about it, but it's not his own phase.
Right. You need to sleek down the phases. Let's go. Let's play faster because the game is long, and we want to find ways to make the game shorter.
All right. My next point is most.
Number 3.
Yeah. Number 3 would be most units seem more survivable.
Yeah.
All right, so things don't get killed.
Some armies would tend to disagree, but I think overall, yes.
Yeah, there is caveats to this.
There's caveats.
But overall, things stay on the table a lot longer.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, previous editions, you can get tabled in a single turn.
Right.
And that's hard to do in this edition unless you're Eldar or saying you get first turn and you brought 3 Wraith Knights or some bullshit like that. But I agree with you. You get to play with your models a little bit more.
Right.
Okay.
So turn 4. Point 4 being the missions.
Yes.
The missions.
Mission
Games
pack.
are not focused on you just killing each other, right?
This mission pack.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Look at it. Missions are more dynamic. The players have to think about objectives.
They're fun.
Yeah, they're different.
They're fun. There's like little
looking
twists.
for the Architect stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
there's a few that could use some tweaks, but we'll get there, and then they can release new missions and things like that.
New mission packs. Yeah.
I love the missions.
Yeah.
And not that you'd have to just, okay, I have to kill every single one of you, but I'm not as effective as killing. I'm guard and you're custodes.
Right.
I'm going to die. So what I do is I'll play the objectives and try to hold as long as I can. That's way more thematic.
Right. And then every game is different, you know, because you have to the way you set up the table, the way you know, the different missions, your other secondaries, everything is totally different. So the replayability, you're not just doing one mission.
I like
after,
that one. You could be smashing your opponent,
but
you could be losing in points. It's like, bro, you know, I like that fact. It's like your army's more powerful, but we're doing the more important shit, which is real war. You know,
right? I have one guy left, but and you have your whole army. But I win, you know, type thing. So
it might feel weird, but you have to look at the overall campaign when you think of stuff like that. Okay, so number 5 for me, and I think this is the great. I like how they changed the all the stats. They brought the stats down onto the actual weapons. They condensed the stats, and the single greatest stat that they added, one of the best changes in 10th edition, is objective control. Now it's very clearly. My knight as, you know, 5 objective control. Oh, you have 6 infantry, so and their objective control 1 each. I control that objective. I got to kill some of your guys so that it can flip to me.
Right. So it takes away from a smaller, more powerful unit, not getting that objective against a 20-man unit that's not as powerful, but you know, just because they have more dudes there, they would get the objective.
And
so
on the opposite, you could balance it the other way, where it's like, yeah, this is a Death Star unit, and he'll kill anything on the board, but he's not going to be able to hold an objective because that's not his purpose. His purpose is to just, you know, shoot everything on the board, and so a squad could overwhelm that guy in setting up for the thing. So I think that objective control stat, great change.
And it also takes away from you having to blow off, you know, totally annihilate the other your opponent off the objective. You know, you can just work it out with the objective control.
Points. Number 6 now, which ties into that one, is the new Battle Shock system. Yes, I'm putting this under good. I know Jay may have a little bit to say. I think Battle Shock is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I
don't think it's like the best ever.
Yeah.
But I do like that it's there. Now, I will admit, and we're actually going to have a debate section at the end. So let's do good, bad, ugly debate.
Right.
Okay. There's a few things we'll debate. We might debate this one, but I think overall the Battle Shock system is interesting. It may need one more thing to feel a little bit better because it is weirdly ineffectual in some armies.
Yeah.
But if you're a Chaos Demon player, you're like, nah, man, I'm good with the Battle Shock system. But maybe it needs one extra thing, like a forced fallback, or you can't shoot or charge that turn. Maybe a -1 to hit. Something tiny bit more. We'll talk about that in the debate. But overall, I like the Battle Shock system.
Yeah, I
can't use stratagems. And how do you win the game? Objectives.
Yeah.
Are you controlling an objective anymore? Nope. You got Battle Shock, and I have 2 guys to your 7. I'm controlling it because I shocked your guys.
Yeah.
So I like that, and that's what matters on how to win the game.
Right.
So that's point 6. Point 7, this is leaders and combos. And it also ties into the flavor of Warhammer is back, baby. You see a fucking Primarch walking towards you, and you're like, I'm going to die. You know, Magnus the Red, Robert Gilliman, Lionel Johnson. These guys feel the way they should. Armies feel the way they should. And I like that.
I definitely like that, and I love being able to attach my whatever, some hero to a unit.
To the unit.
And then them getting the benefit, buffing them.
Yeah.
You know, getting the benefit of that, and him leading that unit, you know. It's very thematic.
It's very thematic.
Yeah.
Now, it can lead to kind of some broken combos or balance issues, but that's what makes it fun. When you find... It's, you know, in Magic where you're building your deck and then there's the game. So there's 2 aspects to the game. I like that you can find combos and list build and just explore that aspect of the game. So I would like to call this Combo Hammer.
Yeah.
This edition, more so than other editions, is Combo Hammer.
And again, you can look at it a different way. In lore, this guy was leading this unit, so I can do that. You know,
so
I can attach him to that. You know, to that unit.
So the next point is some of the movement, some of the rules in the game have been smoothed out. For example, movement. You can move through your own units. I can't believe you were never able. It's like, excuse me, sir, and they're like, no, you can't go around. You got to go around. It's like, what? But now you can. You can go through your own units. Not enemy units, but your own. And then the degrading stats in previous editions, even just 9th, it's like you have to look at different lines for every time you're hit. It's just ridiculous. Yeah. Now it's like, hey, you have a 10 wound thing. When you're at 1 to 4 wounds, you're damaged.
Right.
Well, what is it? -1.
-1.
It's just so easy and simple. And we don't need to do individual stats like this.
Different lines when I'm down 2 points or down 5 points, or
so basically the overall point is smoothing some of the rules in the best way possible. They made a few of those smooth changes that are good. They made some that are bad. We'll get to that in the bad section. And then 2 more. Number 9 is fast, clean army building. It's fast. It's like, you have to have your army has to have 1 character.
Yep.
You're good.
That's it. That's all you need.
And if it's an epic character, like a named person, you can only have 1 of it, because you can't have like 3 clones walking around on the battlefield, 3 Lionel Johnsons or something.
And you can never have more than 3 of anything.
Right. You never have more than 3 of anything except for battle line, which are your standard infantry. You can have as much, as 6 units of Imperial Guard so that you can run your all guard army. It's just very easy. Now, there is a way to exploit it. And some people might want to put this one slightly into the debate section or the bad. I've heard a lot of people wanting to limit it to 2. The rule of 2 instead of the rule of 3. I think that comes from competitive side. Because casual, nobody's going to fucking buy, 3 raid lights and 3 fucking gladiators.
I mean, it just, you wouldn't
those kind of situations, they're like, nobody's playing with that guy again.
Yeah,
they're just not going to play with that guy.
Yeah, it just wouldn't be fun.
Yeah. So I think 3 is good for casual, but maybe 2 for competitive.
Even at 3 for casual, I mean, why would you run that? I mean, when me and you are playing, I don't.
No, we wouldn't do it, but some people would, but we would stop playing with that guy. But what I'm saying is the rule set needs to at least be there. Consider the rule of 2 for tournaments, because it does get out of control.
Yeah, I definitely see that. Yeah.
Yeah, go Star Wars, the rule of 2. All right, and then finally under the good section, tanks are back, baby! Vehicles are good in this edition. Some people want to call it the mechanized edition or the tank edition. I don't know. I think characters in Combo Hammer are a little more than that, but I'm so happy. I cannot tell you how big of a turnoff it was that vehicles are shitty in 9th edition. There, you could take a unit of 5 infantry and be way better than a tank. And it's like, that's not how it should be. And now I'm a guard player. I love being able to use my tanks, and I like seeing vehicles, because that's what makes Warhammer. If it's just skirmish and infantry, it feels more like, I don't know, smaller scale,
right?
Kill team and stuff like that. No, we need some vehicles, and they are powerful because they raise the toughness. They've raised all those. I like that big change. Those are all.
Yeah, I am right there with you. I love having a Land Raider or the new Impulsors come out and being able to push those around, and then feel like they're not just there for a turn.
Or a
turn and get blown away. They're going to stick around for at least most of battle.
Those are all reasons why you should play. Very, very fun. Now we got to go into the bad. So let's start. Let's go ahead with you. Do a few, and I'll do a few.
All right. So
number 1.
The first thing that came to mind, the line of sight is broken. It needs to be fixed.
I've always hated Warhammer's true line of sight, where you get down, and if you see a toe of a demon from a building, then you're like, I can hit that guy. Does he have cover? Does he not have cover? In this edition, he has cover, but it's just It's a complex because you want these amazing models, right? Tyranids have huge wings and mandibles, but that actually fucks you in Warhammer. You want to model all your miniatures like they're huddling in the fetal position, so you can hide them behind buildings. I hate that shit.
Yeah. No,
it's dumb. And then it should go off of the base or something. I'm just my base draw to your base?
Why do I have to lay down on the table to try to see your dude? You know, like can I see him through those trees or can I see him through that window?
It's so much
out the other window. Yeah, it's just
there's too many arguments.
Yeah, it needs to be.
We
cleaned
hate
up.
the true line of sight. I don't know why it's still a thing. This is a 20-year-old system thing. It needs to change because that was written in fucking 2nd edition and 3rd edition. Get down and be in the battle. It's like, bro, this is an abstract, version of warfare.
Right.
We don't need to be putting real.
We don't need like a periscope and stuff, to get down eye level with the model.
I agree.
Stuff.
What else?
All right,
Number two.
This one kind of hurt because, and I know why they did it, but I still don't like that they did it. Is the no sub factions.
Yeah,
like I said, I understand it.
I can't forgive it.
I just it hurts.
They do detachments instead, and right now, since it just launched, everybody has 1 detachment. Okay, now when your codexes come out eventually, they will add maybe 1 or 2 detachments, but it's still not what Jay's talking about. Jay's talking about it's like, look, I painted my own Space Marine chapter, and then you get to create your own rule set, your own lore, and give them the rules that you want. Gone. Can't do that anymore. Now you're just in very set detachments. It's easier for balancing, but I wish that that you took customization away from us, and I don't think we needed to go that far.
Yeah. So, big example is Space Marines.
Yeah.
There's only 4 factions now.
Right.
They got rid of all the other ones basically, and you can run.
There's
Blood Angels, Ultramarines, Space Wolves, Black Templars,
if
and
you're
Dark
Iron Fist, you feel like shit.
Yeah.
Until your codex comes out.
Dark Angels. So 5. Yeah, 5.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
What else?
So number 3, the free war gear, which. They got.
Hold on, I'm gonna put that in debate.
Okay, hold on. No,
I like the fact that we don't have to fucking worry about that.
Free war gear is kind of the way they got rid of power level, but it's kind of still a hidden power level.
Oh yeah, no, I'm with you. So, I don't like the change from point costs to power level.
Yeah,
everybody was like, we don't like power level, we want point costs, and GW's like, we heard you.
Yep.
In this edition. Power level.
Yeah.
Wait, what? So it's hidden power level.
It's a hidden power level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't take. You either take 5 or you take 10.
Yeah.
You don't get 7. You don't get 8. If you have a little bit of points and you want to squeeze something in, too fucking bad.
Well, the Death Guard they have one more choice. They can take their 7.
Now, in an update. No, we're talking about release version of the game.
Yeah.
Hidden power levels we're putting under bad.
Yeah, because I mean, some of the weapon options should.
I understand it was for simplification's sake, but I don't know about this one.
And giving it to units for free, it's just out of control.
Yeah.
My 4th thing is going back to goes back to the thing about the models being more survivable, but some things are overpowered.
Yeah.
And they're not priced appropriately, and there was so many errors on the data cards when everything first released.
Let's put this into an overall unbalanced, odd points imbalances, and even errors on the data cards.
Right. Yeah.
So I get it. They had to do 2,000 data sheets. Some things are going to slip through, but I don't know, man. There's some in there that's
like spelling errors. Come on, man.
Yeah.
It's 2023.
Everybody
has spell checks.
Fucking Desolation Marines, indirect fire, and they're cheaper than all the other things that do the same amount of damage. Like their sisters do kind of the same thing in one section, but the Space Marines are way more effective at it. That kind of stuff that's like, it's just
the Death Watch.
It hits you right in the face. You know what I mean? Death Watch. So a few errors there. Okay. All right. Let me jump in. I got complicating a few of the core rules. So while I said they smooth some of the rules, they overcomplicate a few of them. Toe in cover. Now, that's a term that only you would know if you're playing the game. Basically, what that means is like if you're inside, if you're a vehicle and you're a little inside, everybody can shoot you, but you can't shoot them. That doesn't make any sense.
No sense.
If I can be shot, I'm going to be able to shoot you. Just little backwards things from 9th that they felt that they needed to change that they didn't even need to change. So complicating a few of the core rules bits.
Yeah, the terrain.
So that's another one. The next one is fly. I hate the new fly rules.
Just leave it how it was. It was
9th edition.
It was simple.
It was simple. You can move through things.
Yeah.
And now fucking vehicles that fly way up here have to go around buildings and around bushes as if they're fucking not flying at all. That makes no sense. You could have. I understand that at one point in Warhammer 40K there was flyer spam in fucking tournaments with assholes, right? That want to win, but raise the points. There's other ways to balance it. This whole now you go here and now you go here and now you go here.
It's a small rubble pile. I have to fly around it.
You've made it more complicated than it needed to be. Fly, I don't like. Next, I also don't like towering. I think towering with knights. That's a problem that I don't know how to fix. Other people in the community might be able to do it with different, solutions.
Yeah, they were saying that they were covering up all the windows so you couldn't see through stuff.
Yeah, you would have to have everyone utilize the rule where first level floors are counted as covered, but then second are not covered. It's like, well, now you're telling me what fucking buildings to build, and then is it standardized? Basically, towering is. I bring a group of fucking Imperial Knights, and I can see your whole army the whole fucking time, and I obliterate you in like 1 or 2 turns, right?
And it goes back to the towering, goes back to the terrain rules being so garbage.
So we need a little bit of help in towering/terrain. The one fix, I wrote it down, is true line of sight. We can do true line of sight to towering. I don't like true line of sight, but true line of sight to towering. But then towering has to follow the normal line of sight to the troops. Something like that. You did a caveat on cover, from strength 3 weapons with armor piercing this, not going down to 2+ saves, but staying. There's like a caveat rule that you have to remember. Just one more caveat for towering is fine. And then Gambits. So while I said I love the missions pack, I think Gambits are pointless. If you're really doing the whole process, it's like there's a whole process where you draw for Gambits or you don't draw for Gambits, and then Gambits never get. They're super hard.
Yeah, super hard.
And let's say you even get a Gambit. What a huge feel bad. I'm kicking your ass the whole game, and then because you rolled a 12 on 2 dice, you win? Bro, I don't know. Yeah, I might clap for you that you got all your forces into the 4 corners of the board and it add 1 to your die roll. I just think Gambit should get gone. It was a good idea because you want to keep players engaged, but you don't. The game is too fucking... We'll get there. The game is too fucking long, and if people want to be like, hey, I think I've lost and I'm in turn 3, that's okay. You don't need to be like, well, I'm going to go for a Gambit now and drag this thing on. Like, no. Just play another game. Anyways, the next one is charge phase. This can kind of go into complicating core rule bits. It's a little too complex. There's caveats, there's finicky, there's manipulation. Tournament players charge in a completely different way than casual players. And you have to play the game to know what I mean. But like, can you tag? Can you not tag? These are terms that people use in the charges phase, and now you've extended the time of charging. There's got to be a slightly better way to improve it.
Yeah, there's got to be an easier way to do it.
And then finally, I think all the devastating wounds combined with the the keyword devastating and anti, less lethal my ass, Games Workshop. They say, oh, this edition is less lethal. Well, it is.
It is, but...
unless you're a shitty army. And then you don't have any options to this cool shit. So you either take it all out or you give 1 unit to everybody that can do something like that, because I just don't like these endless mortals where you can manipulate with a ton of keywords to get these easily. I just like the idea of... we need to simplify the rolling, and we'll get there on other things, because ultimately, I think the game is too long. I wanted to put. I think there's way too much rolling, and it's way too grindy. This is my most important bad, but me and Jay disagree, so I put it into debate, and we'll get there. So, because it's Jay, we played 5 hours for a 2K game. Yeah. Now, obviously. But that's going to be your experience, too. You're going to play 5 hours your first game, 4 hours your next game, 3.5 your next. But it's like, I'd rather play Combat Patrol. Is there a way to reduce the game time and clean it up? All right, so that's it. Let's go on to ugly now. The good, the bad, the ugly. The ugly is the Eldar ridiculously fucking broken at release. How did that get through play testing? You got your Wraith Guard shooting twice with massive devastating wounds. You got the D cannons firing fucking 54 mortals. The Wraith Knights can pick up so many units a turn, like you don't have that unit anymore, you don't have that unit anymore, without breaking a sweat. And I'll just say, 750 points of Wraith Knights can table a whole 2,000-point army of Votann easily on their own. That shouldn't have happened. So what I mean by the Eldar ridiculously broken is basically the lack of Q&A, the lack of play testing. I don't know if they had to get rid of play testers or if they were just rushed to market, but I refuse to believe that the Eldar were play tested. None of their units, and half of the units were not play tested.
And I like to say that they were play tested.
You're an Eldar player.
They were play tested by an Eldar player,
right? Against other Eldar. I don't know what happened. I don't care.
It was somebody super competitive that loved Eldar and wanted the Eldar to be the best.
They need to consult. They need to consult top players within the space. They need to consult top tournament players, top YouTube channels, whatever. Damn the leaks. I don't know where they come from. I don't know what's happening there, but is it that big of a deal? Is it? I don't know why it's such a huge fucking deal. Now, obviously, you know, NDAs, because we have gotten stuff early from Games Workshop. I'm never fucking breaking an NDA, and I think people that do are pieces of shit. Yeah. But I'm also a fucking intelligent person and know that you cannot trust people. Yeah. And you give it to some random fucking asshole, he's gonna fucking leak it, you know, to his friends.
Especially.
But I'm saying, why? I don't give a fuck if it's leaked. I almost want it leaked as a game designer, so I can say, oh shit, that was broken. I'll fix it before release, kind of thing. But anyway, so I just think that something happened there. All right, another point for ugly: the Horus Heresy situation. That's fucked. The Chaos Drop Pods are gone. The Brass Scorpions are gone. The Decimators are gone. The Contemptors are gone. The Legends. Putting those units to Legends and using the excuse that, oh, those are Horus Heresy era units, bullshit. Yeah, there are a few units that got put into Legends that are with the Horus Heresy excuse that weren't Horus Heresy or that were still being used in the 40K timeline. Right. And it's, the excuse was balance is a problem. Really? Yeah. Space Marines? So many Space Marine data cards, and you have to take away from Chaos? You can take away from Space Marines? Yeah. Those aren't Heresy units. The excuses are nonsense, utter nonsense for putting those.
It doesn't make any sense.
And it happened right before the edition released, and people got punched in the face, and they're like, "Fuck my collection." I still see there's some on eBay that people were trying to sell, still haven't sold.
It doesn't
because when you put it into Legends, nobody buys it.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense why they did that.
It doesn't make sense. And if new ones are coming, if there's a greater Brass Scorpion resculpt and a Decimator resculpt,
it's still in Legends.
Then let us know that a new model is coming, and that's why those are going into Legends. Yeah. But it just take away half of the fucking badass big machine options from Chaos, and it just sucks. Yeah. And then finally, under ugly, less rerolls. Less rerolls. So that was a lie, right? Well, what you meant was less rerolls for shitty armies. And there's one army in the game that their re-rolling is just, their whole thing is re-rolling. Okay? And why play
Imperial
anything
Guard,
else?
Right?
No, it's fucking Eldar.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Their whole rule, all of their units just re-roll, re-roll, re-roll. It just makes all their shit so bad. And then I thought
they're very technical, though.
Here's my thing. I don't like so many re-rolls in this game because it's so much more impactful and moment when you take a handful of dice, you fucking roll it, and that's what you fucking get. Yeah. Okay? and it makes the game faster, and you could do it a lot quicker. And then there should be rerolls, but they should be more rare and in between and big.
Well, it would give it more power. It would
give the rolls more power.
It would mean more when you do get a reroll. Yeah,
and it would speed the game up too. So I'm putting that under the ugly that there are just rerolls galore, and only for certain armies. The other armies get fucked.
Yeah, I wouldn't say ugly, but
I think it's ugly.
It'd be like
you would be bad. It would be bad. All right,
it'd be bad, maybe.
Well, let's go to the debate section before we give our final verdicts on 10th edition with a numerical score. Let's do the debate. So, we put these 4 things into the debate section. Jay, why don't you like Battle Shock as much as I do?
So, I'm not totally sold on Battle Shock. I think it needs to be cranked up a little bit. I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't feel. There's no weight to it. It doesn't feel like it's really a detriment when you.
Certain armies don't give a shit.
Yeah, when you.
But I think that's intentional. I think certain armies don't give a shit, and then certain armies do give a shit, and I think it's intentional. But I don't disagree with taking that knob and going from 8 to 9.
Yeah,
1 click.
1 click up.
1 click.
Yeah.
No debate. Debate over. I agree.
Okay.
You win.
All right.
You win. One click. Alternating turns. So this I tried to put into the bad. I'm like, this is a 20-year-old game design, 30-year-old game design, and I'm sitting here watching you table my whole army. I'm doing nothing.
Yeah.
10th edition is already trying to address that with some reactive abilities. Like,
I
can overwatch on every single one of my units, which slows things down. Or I can react and move my guys away because they're on horses. You know, stuff like that. Yeah. So they're experimenting with it. But I'm wondering, is there a day, and I put it into debate as well, because I think the game is fine without it, but it's design space. 11th edition, 12th edition. Will we finally get the day where we can have alternating turns? Because a game like Bolt Action is way more engaging from moment to moment because you're going back and forth.
Back and forth, right. And there is still those times where you just go through, and we've had them go through all the units that one person has and shooting all the shooting, and it's just devastating. You're just sitting there taking it, you know.
Yeah.
And you're just
boring.
Like, it's you kind of checked out. It's like, oh, how many I gotta save?
And and there's so much in there that and then people can cheat and be like, all right, this guy does this, and you're not paying attention because like you're just like, go hurry up, you know.
Yeah, I want to do my stuff.
Go ahead, do it. I'll hit you back. Yeah. So they're huge haymakers back and forth. And I do think that there's design space in there that in the 11th edition, 12th edition, maybe we should try it.
Yeah.
If it sucks, we can go back in 12th, 13th edition, go back.
Unit activation, I go first, and then one unit each, just like in Epic, like how it was in Epic. Epic
or there was simultaneous in Epic where you both do it and then you put damage down and then in a damage phase you resolve it all. Or that's kind of how that works.
What was it? In Kill Team, you go one guy.
A lot of the smaller specialist games in war, and this is probably why they don't bring it to the main game, because they're like, well, we have it in Warcry, we have it in Kill Team, we have it in Necromunda, we have it in everything else. But I do think that there is design space there that they can play with in the future to do alternating turns and see how it works.
And I think
it does. It requires an entire edition change, because armies will need to completely change. So I'm not saying the 10th edition. I'm saying just keep it in mind for future.
Yeah.
Because here's the defense of a full turn. Well, a full turn is, I feel very, it's those haymakers. Like, it's like, bam, I hit the fuck out of you, and you are down on the ground, and then you're like crying like a baby. But then when you start rolling, you see, oh, I'm doing the same thing to you now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you get a little happier by the end. But there are certain times where somebody will just punch you and you'll stay down. And
that first turn,
it feels like shit.
If you get it in that first turn, it's like, damn.
I went against a Wraith Knight with my Shadow Sword, which is designed to kill a Wraith Knight. But because he went first, I couldn't get my invulnerable save, because my invulnerable save says during the start of your command phase on your first turn, that's when you get this save. So because the Eldar went first and rolled higher on a dice, my Shadow Sword immediately blew up.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't get that invulnerable to help with it. Anyways, but that's kind of slightly a different problem. All right, but then moving on. Did I already bring up? This is my final one. There's too much die rolling.
Yeah,
it's grindy as fuck.
And this
Let me just say before you counter. By turn 3 in 9th edition, we checked out. And then when we were playing 10th edition, I could feel it in turn 3.
Yeah.
Unless the armies were effectively starting to beat the shit out of each other, then we could get to turn 4. We can get to turn 5 without me feeling it. But it is grindy. At hour 4, at hour 3, you know, it's... Let me just do this. Compared to Combat Patrol, where every roll matters... It's that much more exciting when every roll matters. And all you're doing when you're adding all of these weapon 7 different weapons in a single unit, or, you know, this modifier to this modifier, and just this phase to hit, to wound, to feel no pain, to invulnerable save, to modifying each and every individual one of those. There's so many processes and programs in there that you're doing it for not much additional gain. It's not much additional gain. I like it way more when it's less fiddly, there's less die rolling, and the game goes faster. Because, yeah, those die rolls may not go my way, but we can play another game, and they might.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I think Warhammer players have gotten used to the fucking amount of dice. Back in 2nd edition, like a unit rolling 10 dice was like, what the fuck? Wow!
Yeah.
And now 10 dice is like, that's pathetic.
Yeah.
You're not killing me. Fucking units are rolling 40 dice. I can't even fit them in my goddamn motherfucking die rolling tray. It's gotten out of hand.
So I'm on the fence about this. I
think it's gotten out of hand.
I don't mind the die rolling because some of it needs to be done. Some of it needs to be done. So you need to have
easily. I'm not saying I want to get rid of it. Yeah. I just want, like, you remember when you want to dial up 1 for Battle Shock? I want to dial down 1.
Okay.
Maybe 2, but I'll be happy with 1.
Yeah. Well,
whether that's reducing the amount, different amount of weapon profiles in a unit and aggregating it to.
Okay. I can go with that, but you still have to have your hit, your wound, your save. I think you still need those 3 basic principles.
Sure, but then you put in mortals, and then you put in feel no pains, and then you put in invulnerable saves, and you put in all this extraneous stuff. It's not. I'm telling you, and then the massive amount of die rolling. For me, it's not adding much gain. The more die rolling it is, the more your eyes gloss over, the more it feels like I'm just chucking dice. I'm not really doing strategy. I'm just chucking dice.
Okay. And that, again, if we lower the amount, but those 3 main processes we need.
Yeah.
Yeah. You kind of have to have those.
There's got to be. Yeah. Okay. You don't want it to go down to 2 processes, like dropping toughness or something like that. Yeah. I understand. Just rein it in a little bit.
Yeah.
The amount of dice, the amount of weapons on units, and you could still keep the same system. All right. We will somewhat agree on that one.
Somewhat agree, yeah.
And then finally, on the last debate topic, it is force organization. I like the change of, hey, let's go to 3 units. I can simple. I don't need to be like, okay, I need an airborne detachment, but in an airborne detachment, I can only have 4 planes, but in a normal detachment, I can only have 2 planes, but only if there's a leader of those 2 planes, and then I need to get 3 fast attack, and if I don't have 3 fast attack, then I'm a patrol attachment, and if I don't want to be a patrol attachment because I want 1 command point for my warlord, which has 3... Fuck all that.
Yeah.
I want to play the game
didn't like that at all.
Quickly.
I didn't like that at all.
Then why is this in debate section?
Because I would like some required units. Okay? The only requirement now is a leader.
It's battle line. Battle line are the requirement units.
I would say
leader
we would have to have at least maybe two battle line. That's why I would like some kind of
forced battle line, because right now you don't even have to take infantry.
You don't have to take battle line at all.
All right.
I
want to add to that, and I want to say for a rule of 2.
Yeah.
Instead of rule of 3.
And I like that too.
Now, it's difficult to do that for some armies, because some army, like Space Marines, are like, yeah, sure, man, I'd love to use all the rest of the stuff that I got. But, like, Sisters or Votan are like...
I only have 2 units.
There's only, like, 1 good unit, and I need to spam 3, otherwise I'm fucked.
Yeah.
So, I understand that problem. but I still want to do rule of 2.
Yeah.
It'll fix shit in competitive, which competitive Warhammer is silly. It's fun, but it's silly.
Yeah.
Don't get too serious about it. But in casual, it kind of fixes itself. So I understand why they were like, this is a great system, and it works in casual, because it does.
Yeah, because you want to, in casual, you want to play the units that, you know, like, hey, I have these, even though they suck, but they look cool, and I want to play them. So, you know, that'll fix it. But, yeah, I think some kind of requirement is needed.
One additional requirement, 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And change the fucking other data sheets. I hate that it's like I've got characters, troops, and then other data sheets. And that's like more than half my force are called other data sheets. No, it needs a different word. I know it's stupid. It's just a wording change. Give me a wording change. Anyways, all right, so that's it for the debate section. Let's go ahead and tell us if you like that, and we'll go ahead into the final verdict. So, Jay, out of 10 on the Angry Joe scale, 5 is an average game, 1 is a piece of shit garbage that needs to be thrown in the trash, and 10 is not a perfect game. Yeah. What we call it is a legendary game that other games will be compared to for the rule set. Now, this is the rule set. This is not the lore. Yeah. This is not the app. This is not Combat Patrol. This is full 10th edition that took us 5.5 hours the first time, 4 hours the next time, 3 hours on one of the games where we won on turn 3.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So, right now, as it sits, I think I'm at an 8. It's solid.
Okay.
With some tweaks, it would definitely go up, but I'm at a solid 8.
And then, an even more important thing, do you like it better than 9th edition? What would you have given 9th edition, and what do you give?
So I only played a couple games of 9th edition, and I was out.
Same
because
here.
it got so
you.
bloated.
That shows you.
A 9th edition, maybe a 6.
And I'm back. And obviously, I'm producing tabletop content for 10th edition, so it did bring me into the fold. So 8 out of 10 for full 40K.
Yeah.
9th edition for me, I would have rated a 6 out of 10, and that's being generous. Slightly above average, but a lot of lost points for all that bloat and vehicle sucking and all this, playing a certain way. I think 10th edition is an improvement on 9th edition, so I'm going higher. I think at release, this might be, it could be a 7. It could be between a 7 and an 8. I think with fixes, with our first balance update, I think we can go into the 8 territory. So when this airs, whenever, like there's August or September, I think, is when they're going to release their first. They've already started doing some points tweaking, but people are getting caught in the crossfire. They're not doing it really, really well. And this next one that comes in August, September is a more refined one, I'm hoping. So I want to say 7 at release, but now it's an 8. I will end up at an 8 right now. And do I think, and I think we can go up or down from here. This is the index phase.
Agreed.
This sweet spot of up until the first codex, okay?
Yeah.
So when the codex comes out, we need to do another angry review for 10th edition on how that changes things. Because now you're adding a paywall. Now you're adding, they might change the way some things work.
The data cards, the actual physical data cards might get updated.
Yes, it has to. They have to.
Yeah.
So, but the game might get better. They might include some really clever things and fix and balance by then is great, so it offsets all that kind of other stuff. So I think it can go up or down from here, and we'll get with you on that. 8 out of 10 on full 40K, and that's massive.
Yeah.
Because we played a 5-hour game, a 4-hour game, and you want to quit, but no, you want to play.
Yeah.
You want to play because the system is so solid. So if you don't want to do that, play a 1,500-point game, play a 1,000-point game, play Combat Patrol. And we'll have a separate video on Combat Patrol because we've played a lot of Combat Patrol, and we can tell you a lot about it. And I think it is good. So if you want to stay in Combat Patrol, you can until you dip your toes into full 40K.
Right.
Because it is a stepping stone. It certainly is. All right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for the 10th edition 1-month angry review. We've had probably over 20 games. I played a game by myself, played a game with everybody, and I really enjoy it. I love it. I know it can be better, And I'm excited now that I'm in the community, now that I'm doing this regular. This is my passion too, and I'm happy it's a part of the Angry Joe Show, and I want to add my voice and your voice to it as well. And if it's too expensive for you, that's cool. When you watch our battle reports, you can live vicariously through us. You know, or it might inspire you to start hobbying, might inspire you to start painting, might inspire you to go to the stores and make new friends.
Read the books.
And read the lore, read the books along, and you can see us play out the battles that are happening. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for supporting the Angry Joe Show, and we're ready to see where it goes from here. I'm very curious, Jay. All right, anyways, that's it for this one, guys. Thank you all so much. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Put your pros and cons or the good, the bad, and the ugly in the comments down below.
I'd like to see those.
And we will see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, everybody.
Deuces.